welcome to the April 5th, 2022 meeting of Glens Falls Planning Board. We will begin this evening's meeting with the discussion and approval of the minutes from the March 1st, 2022 Planning Board meeting. Mr. Cardy, no comments?
No comment.
No comment. No comment.
I'm all good.
No comment. No comment.
Okay, no either. Therefore, I make a motion that the Planning Board hereby approve the minutes from the March 1st, 2022 meeting as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The first item under new business, excuse me, Maple and Culvert Incorporated, owner of tax map, block, or section 303.17, block 19, lot 13, commonly known as 153 Maple Street, is seeking approval to paint a 20-foot by 30-foot mural on the east side of the building at this location. Pursuant to City Code, Chapter 180, Section 180-6A, this application requires sign board review and approval. Is there anyone here representing this application? Would you please step forward and state your names and relationship to the application?
Eric Unkoff, owner of Maple and Culvert Inc. And this is Esmond Lyons.
Esmond Lyons, the painter.
Artist.
Jeez.
Thank you. Do you have anything to offer?
So the only other thing to offer that we didn't talk about last time was Esmond just gave me this brochure on Silicote, which is inorganic paint that actually chemically bonds into the surface of the bricks. And I guess the real claim to fame here is that in Europe they've got buildings that were painted in the 1870s with this stuff, and the paint is still holding up. So they're talking about 100 years plus in terms of durability of this paint system. So we're gonna not guarantee that we're gonna use this. He's got some samples. We're gonna try the samples out, and he needs to have a deep enough black for this to work. So as long as he's happy with that, this is probably what we'll go with.
We actually discussed this at our March meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't do anything with this.
Yeah.
It hadn't been properly public
Yeah.
meeting notice.
Yeah.
But
I would hope that, the fact that this paint system lasts for 100 years would kind of there was some concern last time about, staying up condition-wise, and this stuff is, well, according to the brochure, it's pretty incredible stuff. Yeah.
That it?
Yep, that's it.
Very good. Thank you. Any members of the public care to comment on this application? If not, we'll begin with our architectural consultant, Mr. Brown.
I have no new comments.
Very good. Thank you. I received no comments from the city engineer. Did receive something from the fire chief that had no comments. So that being said, comments from the planning board, Mr. Curry.
I think it's a good idea, so I'm in favor.
Ms. Murray.
I agree. I think it would be a great idea.
Mr. Hall.
Thought it was a good idea last month. I still think it is.
Thank you.
I feel the same as the rest of the board. Yes, and me too. And welcome to more art in the neighborhood. It's always good.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
great idea. That said, I have a motion.
This is just special permit, yes?
Yeah.
There's no secret involved with it.
No.
I make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board hereby approve the sign permit for the Maple and Culvert Incorporated, the owner of tax map number 303.17-19-13, commonly known as 153 Maple Street, as presented at the meetings of 1 March and 5 April.
Second.
I have one comment.
Sure.
It's not a planning board, it's a sign review board.
Sign review.
Sign review board. I stand corrected.
March 3rd and April 5th, 2022.
Yep.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing, what do you think, what's your time frame?
Probably gonna start, probably next month we're gonna start. So we're gonna start doing some of the wall prep here, later this month in terms of like smoothing out some of the irregular mortar joints and things like that, and just getting the wall prepped for Esmond, and then probably sometime in May, he'll actually start.
Yeah. Now, you know Hank doesn't climb ladders, right?
No, wouldn't think of it.
Thank
I
you.
wouldn't have used a ladder like that.
Good luck. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Russell J. Pronounced Orca. Okay, anyway, owner of Rawls Mexican Grill, contract SU 160 Glen Street, Glen LLC, I'm sorry. Owner of tax map section 302.20, block 31, lot 2, commonly known as 164 Glen Street, is requesting an encroachment permit at this location to place tables and chairs for outside dining. Pursuant to zoning chapter 220-48A, subpart 2, this application requires an advisory opinion by the planning board to the common council. Is there anyone here representing this application? No? Okay. That's being the case, I'll make one planning board table application, Russell J. Orica, owner of Raul's Mexican Grill, pending the appearance of someone to represent the application.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. The next item is architectural review 22-0007. Glens Falls JV redevelopment apartments, owner of tax map section 303.17, block 16, lot 3.1, commonly known as 43 Ridge Street, is seeking architectural approval to replace the facade on all elevations of the Cronin Island.
Good afternoon, how are you doing today?
Excellent, man.
Good afternoon, how are we doing today?
Good.
You are
Good. My name is Matthew Abrams. I'm representing Wild Walter Partners, Griffin Construction, and on behalf of our partners, Glens Falls Housing Authority. So today, what we would like to do is present to you guys the updated proposal for the facade reconstruction. You should have in front of you a pamphlet that has our presentation, the short form review, assessment form, cover letter, and some additional documentation there. We all good? Okay. Behind me, in front of you, are some design review boards as well. So we have the depiction of the proposed facade, close-up view of the entrance, and material selections. So last month's review, we did a sketch plan review with the board and discussed the initial presentation, and we're here today to kind of further develop that and seek approval to continue forward on the actual reconstruction process. So, What we'll do is we'll start, the first page there is the proposed elevation. Per our review last time, we had two different color options. We had a lighter color and a darker color. From the board's review and committee's review, we ended up going with a darker color. Over time, that has the potential to fade a little bit, so it'll fade into maybe a little bit lighter of a color. So we chose to go with a darker, richer color in the beginning. That the option here proposed too is the horizontal banding is every other floor versus every floor to give that scale of the building. Also represented there is the capping, which was shown last time, but just a capping of the facade, so it's not so vertical. It doesn't look like it's endless. In the next slide was a focus of the entry into the building with the covered canopy. We added in the suggested lights. We're looking at a linear light fixture, a little softer tone of the entrance to pronounce the entrance into the building. And from talking with our partners, we also were introducing a pad off to the right side of the entrance as like a gathering point for people waiting, and also for the residents to be able to come outside and enjoy the nice weather. As we continue on is a close-up of that entry into the building. How's that? Is that better? All right, great. All right, so that the next part of the presentation has that close-up of the entry, showing the linear fixtures. We were looking at adding some recessed lights inside that canopy structure too, as well as the benched seating area. Continuing on is the full facade elevation, showing each floors, how we're breaking it up. And we'll continue to the next page. The next page were the two tones that we were looking at. The first, the stove 32411, which was a little bit lighter. The stove 324, it's supposed to be the 33. Should be the 33400 is the darker version of that, which is actually represented in the renderings and the samples that we brought here. Continuing on, in there we're showing the call-outs of those two stove materials, the color sampling, also going with the gunmetal for the window system, the canopy system with a darker gray, and that fiber cement panel having a lighter tan color to it. And then breaking up the building facade is that stove 35133, which is that gray element on the ground floor, and the horizontal elements working their way up through the building. So, are there any questions on the coloring, the entrance, the overall look right now?
No,
Okay.
are there any questions here? Any other?
I believe that we've quoted the color number as a 33400.
Yeah, it's 33340, correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, which is that darker color, right?
So on
Yep.
this page, right.
Yeah, so that material chart, selection chart, has that. And then continuing on with the entrance of the building, so we're highlighting those linear fixtures, the light fixtures that are meant to illuminate the entrance to the building, focusing on more of a downlight and projecting out, and then the recessed lights as well, adding that element, kind of illuminating that entrance so it's not as dark once we put that canopy over it. So.
The inside of that canopy is glass too.
The inside of that canopy will be some type of transparent material.
Okay.
Yep. Then there's enlarged plans of the elevation and sections through the typical flooring. That gives everyone a good representation of, as we work our way through the building, we have the existing assembly of the interior sheetrock, the insulation, and then the proposed facade reconstruction of metal stud, insulation and outsulation material, as part of the ephes or stone, and then the finish material on the applied to the outside of that. And then a section through the windows showing the transition from the ephes to the windows being proposed, and the VTAC, or the PTAC unit sleeves.
I think it's nice to note that the wall section along the window, the air conditioning units will now be inside the building as opposed to previously they're all hanging out
Correct.
the window, which is a very nice touch from a aesthetic and a safety standpoint.
We agree with that. All right. The next slide here, page in the presentation, just as a detailed focus of that sleeve through the existing wall and new wall, showing the relationships between the ephes system and the existing structure. And I just want to point out there, as we're working through the details here, we have a fluid applied membrane, air membrane and moisture membrane that are applied to that dense glass system. So that is allowing for that moisture to stay out of the building, which was our resultant here on the facade failure. So we do have a sample of the breakdown of the actual outsolation in ephes. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, we can pass that around. It is kind of heavy, so. I can take that off the board, pass it around if you want to take a look at it. No? Okay. Next couple slides here are just the proposed window, the performance, knowing that we have the windows that we have now, we need to enhance those. So this just goes through the kind of the thermal value, keeping that colder heat on the outside, keeping the colder heat on the inside, just making sure it's more of a sealed system.
These are, these are casement windows that will open out.
These are casement, or what we're looking at is potential slider windows as well for limiters. So as we open up with casements, there could be some issues there. So we're looking at more of a sliding approach, and could come down to material availability too, with lead times and stuff. So sliders should work out in a manner where we'll have those limiters as we reach above the second story. Excuse me.
Good.
And then we have our section through the entry of the building, which shows the transition from ephes system to that fiber cement panel, knowing that we have to introduce that flashing detail to make sure that water wicks away from the building, and again, kind of just working through those sections, illustrating what we're proposing. And then we have that section, or that sample, working our way through that sample from the actual yellow portion of that. That's our dense glass that'll be installed on the exterior of the metal stud framing. Then we have the waterproofing membrane that goes on, the scratch coat that is a drainage plane, then the outsolation, which is that white insulation. And there's two different meshes there. One's for a harder coat, which is down on the ground floor, and the second blue mesh is the reinforcement for the top coat. And we are, unfortunately, we're not proposing that very nice granite-looking material there, but that would be part of that sandstone finish, which is a finer finish than more of a granular finish for debris catching. So that was one of the conversation pieces we were talking about. So as we work our way up in the building facade with just debris flying around the air, it doesn't get captured into that facade. All right. Does anyone want to take a look at the samples? Going to pass around those. Take a look at those. Okay. Yes. Yep.
Are there any members of the public who care to comment on this application?
That's just the
If not, yes.
And just one question, and I did ask it to Matt earlier about the overhang, and,
Come on up to the mic.
For the record.
Daniel.
Tambury Elton, and I am a member of the Glens Falls Housing Development Authority. And my question was the overhang. I just wanted to make sure with the snow that we get here that it wouldn't be an accumulation, an ice buildup, whatever there. I had a concern about that. Matt indicated that they will put a gutter in the back against the wall that the water would then drain off. I guess want to make that part of the record that that will happen, and my concern about that overhang in the ice and snow collection. I have just a concern about that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving along, we'll start with our architectural consultant, Mr. Brown.
I expressed that I maintain my favoritism to option one instead of option two, and I would sit there, but it is up to the board. And other than that, I believe I recommended the darker color in 33340. And as far as the other recommendations, I thought those were all proper.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had no comments from the city engineer. The fire chief had no comment as well. So that said, we'll start with comments from the planning board. Ms. Andrews?
No comments, no. I like the changes in the lighting. It helps to make it look more residential, which is nice.
Ms. Hogan?
I like it as well. I prefer the darker color.
Mr. Howell?
No, I think everybody has responded to the things that we talked about. You know, personal opinions, I like every other floor. I think it helps the scale of the building. I like the front entryway, and I understand Tambury's concern over that. It is obviously designed to handle the 50,000 square foot snow load that we have here in the Glens Falls area. Is there a heat trace that goes in the gutter system, I'm assuming?
We can take a look at
Yeah,
that.
and I'm sure there
just to
must be
help.
something that keeps that gutter from clogging up.
Yep.
Especially with that being the transition between your fiber cement board and your EFS that's above. And I'm sure it'll be flashed in there completely. So, yeah, everything that we've asked for, I think, has been addressed, and I'm good with it.
Thank you. I have no additional comments. We did meet in the interim to review this. I think it's a good approach. Very good. You know, what is your time frame for completing the work?
So we're anticipating finalizing the CD set in about 5 to 6 weeks, procuring material, getting contractors on board, and then progressing forward. Understanding that we're in some time of flex here, so the sooner we can get that put together and permitted, the sooner we can start.
So you think you'd have this end of September and October?
Probably more like November, December timeframe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it looks really nice.
Mr. Ricardi?
I agree with it. Okay.
There being no further comments, no seeking necessary for this.
I would classify it as a type 2 action under section 617.5C2 as its replacement, rehab, or reconstruction of the structure or facility in kind on the same site, including upgrade to buildings to meet building energy or fire codes, and it does not exceed any of the thresholds. So no further action is required.
Very good. Thank you. That being said, excuse me. I'll make a motion that the Glens Falls Planning Board, acting as the Board of Architectural Review, hereby grants architectural approval of the project identified as Glens Falls JV Redevelopment Partners. Project located at 43 Ridge Street, as presented at the meeting of 5 April 2022, with no additional conditions or comments. Second here. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Appreciate the time, thank you.
You're off and running.
All right, sounds good.
Good luck.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Now we gotta focus the road.
What's that?
Now we have to focus
The weather, yeah, exactly. Thank you again.
You're supposed to take
Yeah.
all of it. Dell, number 2, she's supposed to take it.
This has nothing to do with that. This is what made
Not quite like that in the end.
I was thinking maybe
Two things that I would include here. One, discussion should be through scale. delineation curve.
That was,
Oh, yeah, that,
it says on the original application, like, Ken, all that is supposed to be there and laid out.
Right.
Measured
Yeah,
and,
in your site sketch, please include any or all of the following: light poles, street signs, benches, crosswalks, handicap parking spaces, trees, garbage receptacles, fire hydrants, or any other permanent obstacles that are within 5 feet of your requested area. Make sure to include the distance from each object.
but I think you should specifically include the curve. People will not construe that.
Yeah.
From the top.
Yeah, the
One
curve.
of the major questions was the width of the ADA, 36 inches, and there's no way to measure that.
So, just construction, I think that's a good start.
Yeah.
Very good start. Overview. So, I would suggest adding the B2 scale and also, so, it would create a distinction. Any other comments?
No.
Barricade and separated, what is it?
that's on there,
Yeah.
that's on there also. Yeah.
All I saw was legal.
The question is there, but the answer is no.
If serving alcohol, and SLA needs delineation, we need to know what it is and where it is. Yes.
I just meant the design of it, what are you gonna see? You know, is it 3 foot or 4 foot or?
Somebody like Spot Coffee, they're gonna be, you know, they tend to be further out. They don't need the delineation, you know, so that's why it's alcohol, it doesn't need the delineation.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Anyone else? So,
No.
Have the rules, but not to the permit, because I was wondering about the lighting on whatever street it is on the south side of the building, what the light, what the security light is. Hudson, there's lighting on the outside, I can't remember how much light there is. That's not about the permit.
excuse me, hello. We like all of you, but we're still conducting the meeting, so if you could speak out in the hall, we appreciate
That'd
it.
be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, you can go.
I don't, and I wish, I mean, it's way better than the X's and O's that we used to get, but I was hoping to get more. Temporary barricades going that way.
You know, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
Google Earth is so good that, you know, if I was putting one of these together, I would take the Google Earth image of that and I would actually show it, because it's to scale. I mean, you can print out Google Earth maps and they are to scale. And you can, you know, they can show right on there where they plan to do it. Then there's no question. You know, I don't know that we can force somebody to do that, but, you know, I think at least maybe after you're putting it on there, saying, you know, a Google Earth image of the proposed area, that's an easy thing to do. It's simple to go on there and all you have to do is type in your address and it'll show you what your house looks like or what the property looks like.
Things you don't want to see.
Yeah, a lot of times. So, I mean, that would be my opinion, is just if we could add something like that to it and just say, you know, attach a Google Earth image, or, you know, some people actually have their survey. Some of the ones that are doing this actually have a copy of the property survey that shows where the front of the building is in relationship to the curb. I don't think that I think it's a little much to ask somebody who's doing this as a, you know, for 3 months to go out and do it. But on the other hand, when both Davidson Brothers and it was Amy's at the time, but when they both came in, they both had surveys that showed Exchange Street, because that was the dispute between Davidson Brothers and Amy's at the time as to where that property, you know, where the setback or everything was. And honestly, that's worked out great. That Exchange Street Plaza in the summertime is awesome.
Yep.
So,
You may see that again in front of the board. a square lot, by the way. It's
Just-
32 feet in the front and 30 in the 32 in the back and 30 in the front.
It gets narrower as it goes back. But Glen Street's next door.
If there's nothing else on that, I want to just bring something up. Mr. Vanderzee, have you had any further contact from this Tina male spa? Remember they came in,
Yeah.
January 4th?
No.
The reason I asked, at the suggestion of our attorney, we should probably move to, just deny this and get rid of it. So
Just so it's not hanging out there, I mean, we just table
yeah,
it pending additional information.
right.
And they can always reapply, right?
Yes.
Would they have to reapply in that case?
Yes.
They would, once you deny, but it's been tabled now since December,
January.
excuse me, and then in
Yeah.
February, no further information was provided, so.
Nothing in March either, and here we are in April and still nothing, so.
So if they want to take it back, but I'll make a motion that the application, that we do application for Tina Nail Spa, located at 144 South Street, Glens Falls, be
Denied without prejudice.
Yeah, denied, due to no further information being provided by the applicant as requested by the planning board.
there you go.
I'll second.
Really? All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take it out of my briefcase.
Yeah.
The only other item that I had is the proposed modifications, updates, how we will for zoning code, chapter 220. There's chapters that, if nobody has any other input, I'm just going to talk to our attorney at some point about how to
Move that forward. Yeah, that's what I think. It's language. I think it's language strong enough. We can move it forward and get it
So
done
then,
in 10 years, 12 years.
well,
We don't want to rush into it.
so I will do that then.
Okay.
Perfect. Anyone have anything else? At 7:15.